how are you doing? This is Pastor Cheryl. We are doing the plucking heads of grain on the Sabbath today. Matthew 12, Mark 2, and Luke 6. I will write the address for you down, in the comment section, or there's a section where you could look at for description, and you could go ahead and look at that and get the exact address. Matthew, Mark, Luke. Matthew, Mark, Luke. That's interesting, isn't it? Matthew here has omitted a lot. Who has the most is, I think, the center, Mark, and then Matthew finishes it. I will read it to you. Let's see here. I'm trying to make a choice here. Matthew has really edited the heck out of this, so we'll start with Luke. Luke 6, 1 through 5. On a Sabbath, while he was going through the grain fields, his disciples plucked and ate some heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands. But some of the Pharisees said, "Why are you doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath?" And Jesus said, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and took and ate bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priests to eat, and so also gave it to those with him?" Then notice this. Matthew starts it, Mark finishes. Or have you not read in the law how often the Sabbath the priests in the temple profaned the Sabbath and are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here, meaning himself. And if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. Notice Jesus is never condemning anyone for anything. He's kind of easygoing. Then we'll finish up with this. And he said to them, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." Okay. It's heating up today. It's getting quite warm out here. And so I wonder if it's going to be another one of those 91-degree days. Like, And I was out in that yesterday trying to get things done. I'm in the process of moving, and it's getting to be something else. My sister-in-law is sending money for a deposit, and for some reason it's getting stuck out there in cyberspace, and it's not coming through. Not even with Western Union. Western Union has been, they're usually immediate. Not today. So there's something going on. Today it's been a couple hours already, and I'm getting really upset because I want to give this check to them. And I can't give them the check until there's money in the bank. Okay? You got it? So anyway, this passage makes reference to people that are hungry. And, Jesus and his disciples were homeless. And they were homeless people. And I keep hearing comments that are negative about the homeless. Like they're bad people. Not true. That is not true. A lot of homeless people are decent. It's just something happens. They end up homeless. They end up with a landlord that's wacko, or the building burns down, or something happens, and then they end up at a shelter. I knew one woman who was a school teacher. She and her son ended up going to the shelter because her mother didn't want her own grandson around. So this friend of mine, who was the school teacher, went to the shelter with her and her son. He was ADHD, had some other issues, and he was hyper. He apparently drove the grandmother nuts, so she kicked the mother and the child out both. Her own daughter and grandchild. Strange, right? Strange. But anyway, getting on with this. So Jesus was eating, his disciples were eating seeds. You know, pluck off the grain and try to eat it. Usually you smash that up and you turn it into bread. And they were that hungry. And then the Pharisees and Sadducees, instead of offering them food, logical thing to do, oh, these people are hungry, let's give them some bread. No, they didn't do that. They just criticized. We have people like that today. Very short-sighted people. Where do they come from? But anyway, I wanted to make this short and sweet, and think about what else we could say about this today. I have like 4 China sets. I don't need that many, so I took one of them to the Salvation Army last night. It's walking distance from here. It's right through the trees here. And put it in my little cart and walked it out there. And when I was there, I noticed there was a homeless couple there. And they were going through boxes of clothing that was at one time neatly folded, right? So they're pulling all this stuff out because they're looking for something that might fit them or that they can use. And they had no place to go. I said, where are you going to sleep? They said, well, the buses aren't running anymore. It was late at night. They were just going to sleep there on the pavement. And I went, wow. Wow. I said, they've got a stack of cardboard over there. Just throw it on the pavement. It's just nobody will care. No one will bother you. Not out here. It's Moline. They won't care. And so she said, yeah, she knew. But I think it's disturbing that we have people still today, in our climate. We have an extreme climate, extreme hot in the summertime, extreme cold in the winter. We have homeless people out here. I live in Illinois. We have homeless people. Now, Jesus and his disciples were homeless. But you could do that in that climate. You could go camping any time of the year, you're fine. It's kind of a moderate climate. Doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. They get a slight amount of snow in the wintertime. If you dress warm, you'll be fine. And stay in the shade in the summertime, or just you're outside, you're fine out there. It's kind of a very moderate, nice climate there. And then my brother, he was out there, he expressed it with, they're born with nothing, they die with nothing. He was a colonel in the army. They're born with nothing, they die with nothing. And that's what he thought of the Mideast. Extremely poor people, still living outdoors, selling things like scarves. The scarves are big, on a big T-shaped thing, and they just draped them over, and they were trying to sell scarves to get a few pennies to live on. Wow. Wow, wow. So anyway, this about covers it. And we are going to have some tough times coming up here with this war that has just started in Europe again, and Poland and Russia. And so, and we kind of anticipate it affecting us, and eventually probably will come over here. So, stock up. Stock up. Canned goods, dried goods, whatever you can. Remember to get a space heater. Not an electric space heater, because there will be no electricity. We're anticipating no electricity. Get one of those little propane boxes. You can get, about so big, so big. You put a little propane jar, screw it in on the side. Or one of those that's like a big console thing that sits on the floor. However you prefer it. But we might have a couple of days where there will be no electricity, no heat. Stock up at things like the heater, candles, blankets. Prepare for a couple days where we will have no electricity. It's predicted. The sun is doing its weird thing up there, and it's going to knock out sections of the United States with getting rid of our electricity. So be ready. Be like a Boy Scout. Be prepared. Now, ring the bell, hit like, and then subscribe. I'll see ya. Bye-bye.